Hello and welcome to all of you e-sailing fans around the world. Welcome to the Spanish, or let me say, Copa de España. The grand finals on today. We are here to see who is going to be the first Spanish champion ever. And when we're speaking about champions, let's please welcome in studio one of my favorite commentators and also a small champion also, Alec Wilkinson.
Very small champion, but I'll take any compliment. Thank you. And we should say hola, hola, Thomas. ¿Qué tal?
Hola, Alec. That's cool. And Alec, what a championship we have today. What a fantastic championship. We saw the semi-finals yesterday. Semi-final one was that was more consistent, where semi-final two, everybody could win it. Everybody could go into this final we are seeing today.
Yeah, so we started with 40 sailors yesterday, and now we're down to the very best, the final 20. And it's we learned some things yesterday in the semi-finals. We learned that we learned why Spanish e-sailors are amongst the best in the world, and arguably the best in the world. Obviously, there's a World Championship going on, and we'll see how that ends at the end of the year. But right now, the Spanish are really flying high. We saw why in the semi-finals. And the other thing we learned was that consistency pays. Just like in real sailing, consistency in e-sailing, in these regattas, in the format that we're seeing, pays.
And it's very about consistency. But let's say before we're going to have some interviews today also. But before that, let's go in and see which score they're bringing into the final. But before that, let's just see how this format of today is. And Alec Wilkinson, what a fantastic final we're going to see today. And here we have the scoreboard. And as we just saw in the format, the position they got in the semi-finals, that point, they're getting into this final. So some of them are starting with a good points, and some of them are starting with 10 points.
And that made for some real battles further down the fleet. Even when they knew they'd qualified, they were still battling to get the advantage going into the final. So there we go. We start with Luis España and Joan Cardona top of the pile with 1 point. And then, as you can see, everyone is assigned a point according to where they finished. We had two semi-finals, so we had two winners, and that's why we've got two with 1 point, Luis and Joan Cardona.
And one of the players I have a little eye today is Rausan Lark. He actually went into the last race in the semi-finals at a third position. Then he took a break and came into the final with 5 points, losing 2 positions. So some of the players was just, hey, I'm already qualified. But does those 2 extra points means that he won't be in top 10? Because they're only doing 3 races back to back, 1 discard. And then they will go in, top 10 will go into the final stage and take the victory.
Yeah, so we've got 3 races coming up. There is a discard in those 3 races. Then we will take the top 10, and they will have 3 races, with the 3rd race being the double points medal race.
Yeah.
So our first 3 races, I think, are going to be fast and furious, and there is no room for error. Consistency, as I keep saying, is going to be key. Welcome back. We're joined by Carlos Paz Blanco. Now, Carlos, welcome along to the show. Welcome along to eSailing TV. You run the eSailing program, and certainly this competition anyway, for the Spanish Sailing Federation. From our point of view, it's been fantastic. Has it been a success, do you think, for you?
Yeah. It's one thing that we think 6 months ago, but with the COVID, all go really fast, and we decided to do the Spanish Cup before. It was programmed for September, but finally with COVID, I thought that was really nice for all the people can compete in this situation.
Have you been surprised by how popular the competition is and how many sailors are taking part?
Yeah, I think no. I thought that some months ago, a lot of people start to sail in sailing, but we thought it's a format for the future, not only for now, for the COVID, but we thought that it would be nice regatta in the next years.
So you've been watching the racing up till now. Who is your tip to be your national champion at the end of today's racing?
Well, I think the tip is you are not outside until the last race. I think the tip is arrive with the possibilities to the medal race, and the best sailor in the medal race, I think, will be win the regatta.
Okay, thanks very much, Carlos, and we'll watch. A very diplomatic answer, by the way, and well done on this great event.
De ánimo o un aplauso puede dar una fuerza inimaginable. Por eso ahora, todo nuestro apoyo va para ellos.
And Alec, what a good interview with Carlos, one of the organizers from the Spanish community, but also part of the Spanish Federation. And 274 players watched from the start, and we're getting ready for race number 1 in a few sec.
Yeah, we're not hanging around. The sailors are in their boats. They're ready to go. We're going to start with the J70. So the 3 races, the 3 initial races, phase 1 of this final in the J70. Race number 2 will be in the 49er, and the 3rd race will be in the NACRA 17. So a real mixture of the types of boats and the sort of strategies that they're going to employ to try and win these races. So it's a real test for the sailors.
Yes, let's go in and see more about the format. Here it is.
We're going to start with the J70, as I said. We're on the Bay of Palma in Mallorca, and it's your standard upwind, downwind course. So 4 legs or 2 laps, whatever you want to call it, and they'll finish where they started. And as I say, the J70 goes first, the slower of the 3 classes that we'll see in action today. And really, the downwind leg for the J70, The downwind leg is the important leg. That's the one that the eSailors will tell you will decide the difference between winning and losing the race.
And Alec, we are ready with race number 1. It is Copa de España. This is the grand final. Who will be the first victor in Spain? Small presentation. This is Pesto with the unicorn today. Cruiserator. We have seen him at the World Championship. Ramon qualify as the number 1 from the quarterfinals, but didn't perform in semifinals. Rouse and Lark we spoke about. Mario PQ Hopkins, Antonio MDDR, Jan Cardona, SailGP team, Felix Pion, he has a lot of fans with him today, Avar at top, Luis qualifying as a Ninja as number 1, Samu, Nano Stinger, Bandito, Ispan 2099, Domínguez Hector, Matthias Bonet, Pablo G. Portela, Eric Nogul, and Alfonso Fernandez Perez. 10 seconds, Alex.
10 seconds, and they are now spread right across that start line. There doesn't seem to be an agreement on which side is best, but they are away. It's race 1 of the Copa de España final, and it's a clean start except for Joan Cardona, who picks up a penalty, and Alfonso Perez, who has to go back and start again. But out in front, Pablo Portella and Bandito just ahead of Domínguez Hector.
And it was actually a double penalty to Jan Cardona. He crossed the starting line before the red zone went away. That's giving him a penalty, but he also did a false start, so he needs to come back. But luckily for him, he's going to the right-hand side where the wind is, so he's back in 10th, but it will slow him down, and that will not be the first race. They only have 3 races to perform, and he qualified as number 1. So that's very interesting what's going to happen here, Alec.
Joan Cardona, a professional sailor, very well known amongst Spanish sailors, competes in SailGP, very experienced, and as you say, goes into this top of the overall leaderboard. But he can't afford any more slip-ups. Can he claw back his way up the fleet? So Joan Cardona in that white boat, trailing behind right now. But let's have a look at the leader. Pablo Portella hitting 6 knots now on this upwind leg, and Bandito and Domínguez Hector and Ramon 732 all bow to bow right now, coming in to the top mark.
But interesting also to see which players is most awake, which players are ready to be the champion, who is performing today. Pablo G. Portella, he just qualified in one of the last spots for this final. He had a very hard semi-final, but he's starting out as number 1. And I have to say, 10 meters in front of Bandito, that's a great job. And now they're coming in here in the left-hand side. See how close they are, side by side. And Bandito ready to penalize people here. Dominic Hector behind, Pablo G. Portella controlling it up to top mark number 1.
Those of you who follow eSailing will be very excited right now, because in this leading pack, we have some of the world's top eSailors and some of the world's top sailors as well, and they're all converging at the same time on a very similar ley line to converging onto this top mark. And we'll see who can stay cool, who can create enough space around themselves not to pick up penalties. Cruiserator turns, Pablo turns and heads into the mark, and Pablo Portella will be the leader at the first mark. It's really tight though for Cruiserator on the inside. He gets round though. There's a penalty for Bandito. I think he touched the mark. And if it's only 1 penalty, wow, that really shows the class of sailors. So difficult to control your boat on your device in such a tight, packed fleet.
Yeah, and Felix Pion, he was so unlucky with that penalty because he didn't manage just to turn it in. Bandito actually closed the gap, so there was no room for Felix, so he sailed into Bandito, and there Pasto penalizing Avar top today. It's Pasto going after Avar top, not Cruiserator. Cruiserator in second, Samu in third, but this is good news for Pablo G. Portella. He is going to stick away from the others because they are battling each other. 68 meters downwind, Alec. Great stop for him.
Cruiselator, a 2 times World Championship finalist. He was so dominant in the early stages of the semi-finals, but then dropped off, which saw him 5th in the overall leaderboard going into this. But right now, he's doing the business. He's challenging for victory. He's in 3rd place. But can anyone catch Pablo Portela as he leads at the halfway mark?
Yeah, it's a great turn about that gate mark. Samu will follow him. Interesting Cruiselator going opposite. There's good ways both the way. Rouse and Lark in 4th. Maybe those 5 points getting into the final is costly. Penalties, Hopkins, Matthias Bonet.
Penalties all round. Look at those red exclamation marks. And a lot of sailors will have lost the race in that manoeuvre at the halfway stage as the computer slows them down before releasing them to try and accelerate away again. But look at Cruiselator working his way up this side of the course. Pablo Portela with the black sail. Just there you go. He's just flashed up. And Samu moving up into 3rd place now.
But interesting to see Cruiselator almost capturing 60 meters into Pablo in that mark rounding. But Pablo, he has the win with him. He's sailing into a harder breeze. See the radar. It's very dark in the area where Pablo are, where Cruiselator is in light wind. Who will take this first win today?
Yeah, and Cruiselator just, I think, spotted that dark side and is moving over to the right-hand side. And Samu still 3rd. Antonio DDR in 4th place. Yeah. Ramon 732 in 6th. So we're beginning to see the leaders start to pull away inch by inch, but it's still so close.
Yeah. And we can't trust the server right now. The server is saying Cruiselator is the lead, but with our bare eyes, we can see Cruiselator might drop to 4th position because Pablo G. Portela, Samu, Ramon, and Rouse and Lark is positioned much better than Cruiselator, coming from a starboard, going into the top mark, and they will be in front of him. Let's see how that works.
Yeah, Cruiselator chose that left-hand side. He took a chance, and it hasn't paid off for him. And what it means is that Pablo Portela has now really increased his lead on that second upwind leg and is now about 40 meters ahead of 2nd place Cruiselator. So actually, it wasn't as disastrous for Cruiselator as we thought it might have been, that choice. He's still in 2nd. Samu 3rd, Rouse and Larg 4th, Ramon 732. There's a penalty for Antonio MDDR and a penalty for Hopkins B, I think.
Yeah. And he hit the mark there, but first he penalized Antonio.
On the mark. On the mark. It's Matthias Bonnet. He picks up a penalty. He's going to just have to get out of there and start again.
Yeah. And let's go to the leaders, Alec, because this is very interesting. Pablo Portela, he is the winner of this race. 98 meters down to Cruiselator in 2nd. But will Cruiselator take 2nd? Because see, opposite side, 15.8. Cruiselator only sailing 11.8. He's 4 knots slower. These 2 boats, Rouse and Lark and Samu, doing a huge mistake. They are in lighter wind. Rest of the fleet are in the hard breeze. Dominic Hector, 17.5. It is a close call who takes 2nd.
Well, that was incredible. That sort of battle between Rouse and Larg and Samu going all the way over to that left-hand side. We'll have to see how that pays out, but it was almost like the 2 of them just got locked horns and were just fighting each other, almost in a match race, and then suddenly everyone else sneaked ahead. We see that plenty of times in
Pablo Portela
only.
almost losing, or kept it. Dominic Hector 2nd, Ramon, and then Cruiselator 4th because of that mistake in the wind.
And España 2099 comes in, and look at those 2 still on that far side, still haven't crossed the line. Disastrous tactics from Samu and the other competitor, who was Ramon 732. Sorry, Rouse and Lark.
Yeah. But amazing to see. We have said this boat is one upwind, Alec, and is lost downwind. And here we saw the example how you're losing it downwind, go into lighter wind, and they lost 5 knots in difference in speed, and we will see it soon when we see these stats here. But let's just have it. Race number 1. Pablo G. Portela with a victory. Dominic Hector in second. Ramon in third. Cruiselator also making a mistake in that downwind, getting fourth. 2099, the youngster in fifth. Antonio MDDR in sixth. Pasto in seventh. Alfonso Fernandez Perez 8. Samu 9. Ralston Lark drops from third to 10th. We will see it in a few sec. Bandito 11. Jon Gardona with that terrible start, batting his way up to 12th. Hopkins 13, Mario PQ 14, Felix Pion 15, and then we have Enrique and Nagua 16, Luis Espan 17. So the two leaders are getting 12th and 17, Alec. Avari top 18, Matthias Bonet, that mark rounding up there, costed him 8 spots, and Nano Stinker 20 position. The stats saying everything. Pablo Portela had the best start, but it was Cruiselator sailing the shortest distance, but he lost it in that downwind action. Ralston Lark with the best wind speed, but again, strategic fold downwind, going to the wrong side. And here we can see how costly it was. See Dominic Hector coming from 6th for going into the right wind, going up to 2nd, where we can see a boat like Samu dropping to 9th for being in light wind, battling with Rouse and Lark that dropped to 10. So they dropped from 3rd and 4th to 9th and 10, and the other boats came up. And downwind, we saw Cruiselator. He just managed to make sure that didn't get too much damage of going to the wrong side, going into lighter wind, but drops 2 position. Great victory for Pablo, great win for Hector, and great win for Ramon. And Alec Wilkinson, what a start of this grand final. There's only 3 races to qualify to top 10. And see, the 2 leading boats, they're already almost out of top 10.
What a disaster for Joan Cardona and Louis. I mean, they started the day top and they have tumbled down the leaderboard. But what a great day for Pablo Portela and Hector Dominguez and Cruiselator, who've worked their way up into the higher reaches. It was an incredible race, and Pablo Portela, we should say, a victory is the best he's done over the last few days, because 2nd place was his best semi-final position. So what a time to turn on the style for Pablo Portela.
Yeah, and we can see he qualified as number 8 from the semi-final. He just managed, as I remember, with 2 points getting into the final. He was so close of losing it in the last race, and he's starting with a victory. And we need to say one thing. Remember, there's a discard after race number 3, and the score they came in with also can be discarded. So he has 8 points in discard, where Jon Cardona, he has 12 points. Rouse and Lark, 10 points. Luis Espan, 17 points. So all the top boats are starting losing from the start. But
what it means is that those top guys who did have a bad first race, they just have to go into this next race, clear their minds and just start again, really.
Yeah. Let's get ready for race number 2. Here we have some stats about race number 2.
'49er. That's what we're going to compete in. It's an upwind, downwind downwind race. So 4 legs, 2 laps, whatever you want to call it. And it's the '49er. So a much faster boat than the J70 that we've just watched. And also, in contrast to the J70, the E49er is really good upwind, and it's really where you have to perform. The e-sailors tell us that if you perform upwind, then your chances are a lot better than if you don't. Downwind, not so important in this.
Yeah, but here we have a race. The J-boat, you win and lose downwind, but the 49er, you win upwind and lose downwind, because if you do as Cruiselator, Rouse and Lark and Samu just did, going into lighter wind with the 49er, then it's game over in the downwind race. Upwind, it will race around 11.7 knots in best VMG. It only have a wind shear of 23 meters. This means this is not a good boat to attack downwind. But let's get ready. We are ready in game to race number 2. And Alec, race number 2 of Copa de España Grand Finale is on. And let's just see who won the last race. Here he is. This time he has a seabird, or it's an eagle on his sail. Let's see how he performs this time.
Yeah, Pablo Portela, he's actually a 49er sailor right now, but he's been a 420 champion of Spain in the past, and he's bringing all that experience of sort of Olympic sailing to his eSailing competition now. But as I mentioned earlier, his victory in race 1 has been his best result so far, and can he repeat it in the 49er, which is, after all, his boat?
Yeah, and to all of you watching out there, please like and share this fantastic grand final in the Spanish Championship. The first ever Spanish champion will be crowned, and we can see more than 1,000 viewers are watching this show right now. It is top of the top, and this is Cruiselator. Can he continue having a high level? He was one of the best players last year in eSailing, but he has been training with all the other Spanish sailors like Jon Cardona, like Luis, like Antonio MDDR, like Bandido, like Rouse and Lark, like Ramon, and they're all showing that they learned a lot by Cruiselator, and they're ready to perform.
The clock has begun. The pre-start is started, and now let's have a look at the radar in the top left corner. We're not getting a lot of there we go. It's been activated as we get into that final minute. So you can see the direction of the breeze from the 3 windsocks in the top left corner. And there you get a good idea of the angle of the course and the start line.
And it's quite interesting to see the wind is shifting at the moment while we are just going around Ramon here. It looks like it's good to be in the pin end. That's the yellow mark to the left-hand side, than the committee boat. But the wind is shifting, and within the next 10-12 seconds, which way will it shift? Will it shift from the right-hand side, or will the wind come from the left-hand side? So they need to take a chance, the sailors now.
So just clarify, you pick up a penalty in the pre-start, that slows you down in the pre-start.
Yeah, for 11 seconds. So don't get a penalty when you're 12 seconds before start, because then you will get a slow start. So a penalty right now will be costly.
Race number 2 of the Copa de España is away. And there are a few early starters, Ramon and Hopkins B and Matthias Bonnet out in front. Guess who? Our winner of race number 1, Pablo Portela. Great start from him. Antonio MDDR, Mario PQ, and Louis now beginning to show his form in 3rd place. Joan Cardona, we just flashed him up there, but poor start from him. He's down the fleet right now.
He actually took a chance. He tried to come from the pin end, going straight away to the right-hand side, but he was not fast enough to go in front of the rest of the fleet, so he got penalized by hitting by a boat coming from starport. But in the lead, it is Pablo G. Portela in 3rd, Mario PQ, and Antonio MDR. And let's see, Ramon, he's all the way here in the right-hand side together with Bandido. Interesting how the fleet is splitting up.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the radar, I think that right-hand side has the stronger breeze. We'll see if it pays off as they close in on the top mark. But right now, we're giving the lead to Antonio DDR and Mario PQ. And they are now approaching this right-hand side ley line.
And here we can see Matthias Bonet coming in here, getting ready to tag into the mark. Interesting call by Antonio. Penalty to Pablo G. Portela in a battle in here, but he just continues his straight line up to the right-hand side to tag in, because when he tags in here, he is in a starboard. But first now he's out of that penalty. That's giving Antonio MDR, Mario PQ, and Luis Espan some good advantages when they're coming up to the top mark here.
Remember what we said, that it's all about the upwind legs in this E49er, and so they will be very pleased. Antonio DDR will be very pleased that he has reached that top mark in the lead. Oh, penalty to Louis,
yeah.
And he clashed with Alfonso Fernandez.
Yeah, Rouse and Lark also picking up a penalty, and 2099, the youngster Dominic Hector, all of them coming in, and it's very costly because they're getting ready for the downwind action. But the reason why Luis got that penalty from Alfonso is because they both entered the mark rounding zone at the same time, not coming from starport. That means it was the rule of the inside turn coming in here. But Antonio in the lead, Alfonso third, Mario PQ in second, and see those battles here.
Bit of a battle going on here between Pablo Portela and Matthias Bonet. Enrique Nogueira getting involved as well. And it's still so close at the front of the fleet. You can see the two black spinnakers of Antonio DDR and Mario PQ.
Yeah.
And they're already at the bottom gate. That tells you just how fast they travel on these short 49er courses. They're hitting about 16, 17 knots now.
And it's very interesting. They're both going to the right-hand side of our view here. Antonio, Mario PQ, Alfonso. Penalty to Antonio. Oh, he got just hit by Mario PQ, and that was a good penalty made there. Penalty to that's Pablo G. Portela also, and Cruiselator.
Yeah. So I think the gloves are off in this race. They're inflicting penalties on each other whenever they can. And look at all those red triangles and exclamation marks. That bottom mark was really a complete mess from so many of those boats. But now what we've seen is that emerging at the front of the fleet is Mario PQ. Now trying to pull away from Antonio DDR, the former leader, and Alfonso Fernandez in third.
But it's very interesting call here. See, we have one black boat here when we watch the radar going all the way out here. That's Felix Pion. He's going all by himself. See how long away he is from rest of the fleet. Taking a chance, going into a stronger breeze. And now there's coming a wind shift against him. So that will be very costly for him. He might drop to last position in that move. And opposite here we have Bandito in 12. He was in 5th in the first upwind race. And it's hard to come back from a 12th position upwind, but good races, new leaders in this race.
So the wind that you're watching in the top left radar is about 12 seconds before it hits the course. So that gives you an idea of, gives you just an idea of how long or how short a time they've got to change tactics and strategy and react. Mario PQ, here we are. Back at the top mark, one final leg for him. Alfonso Fernandez, Perez hot on his heels. Antonio DDR also fighting to regain the lead. And it's going to be a really fun battle on the final leg heading towards the finish line between the three leaders, because the battle is for first, second and third, and then it's a long, long way back to the rest of the fleet.
And interesting what's happening up there. They're splitting up. Let's see, Antonio MDR 16.6, the opposite side 16.4 there, and a little bit lighter wind, but they're going to battle. So let's see if this battle will inflict on the boat in the opposite side, Alec. What will happen here?
So let's flash up their names. We've got Mario PQ and Alfonso Fernandez Perez right behind him. And over on that far side, we've got Antonio DDR. Who has picked the right angle? Who has picked the right side? It's all about nerves and confidence in their own sailing now.
Alfonso Antonio MDR is in the lead, but he is in lighter wind. He's sailing a little bit slower than the others. Alfonso Ferraz, he missed that attack on Mario PQ. Mario PQ wants to defend it against Antonio. This gives Alfonso a chance to come in.
Go into the centre of the course and see these two boats, these two black spinnakers competing against each other. Antonio DDR closest to us. Mario PQ gets the win of race 2, and it's almost a photo finish, but I think second goes to Antonio DDR, and Antonio Fernandez also gets third place. I'm getting the names confused, but there we go. It's Antonio DDR, Mario PQ, really battling it out. An exciting finish there.
And the winner of last race coming in 9th. So
some surprising results as the rest of the fleet comes in and crosses the line. And again, we're going to have a big reshuffle of the leaderboard after that.
Yeah, and here we have the confirmation. Mario PQ with a victory, Antonio MDDR second, Alfonso Fernandez Perez in third, Matthias Bonet, great job by him, fourth, Luis, the overall winner of the semifinals, in fifth, Samu in sixth, Enric Nogua in seventh, Bandito 8, Pablo G. Portela in ninth, that was the winner of the last race, Crucilator 10, 2099, the youngster in 11, Johan Gardona with that penalty again, giving a 12 once more. Hopkins 13, Rouse and Lark 14, Pesto 15, Nano Stinga 16, Ramon 17, Var top 18, Felix Pion 19, and Dominic Hector in 20. And watching the stats, it was actually Pablo G. Portela with the best start, but he also have the largest number of jibes. That's downwind jibes, defensive or aggressive jibes. But where did he lose it? Let's try to go in and see here. We can see in the upwind race, he went to the opposite side of the others and dropped to a fifth position. And then he battling his way up, and then he got a penalty at the top mark, dropped to 10. So that was very costly. Antonio MDR actually went into the lead in the first upwind race, but in the second upwind race, he went opposite side of and he got that penalty at the mark, and then he lost the position to Mario PQ and Alonso Fernandez Perez, but he battling his way back downwind. Great job, great stuff by the racers. And Alec Wilkinson, exciting second race again. This is the championship. I'm all full of energy out there racing out there. And we have a new leader again.
Yeah, so our podium finishers, our top 3 finishers of race 2 have now all moved into the top 10. And the second place, Antonio DDR, is now our overall leader. But look at Crucilator. We said it's all about consistency, didn't we? And although he hasn't won any races and he hasn't made it into the top 3 of the first 2 races, he is still second overall.
Yeah, and we need to read the scoreboard here, because one of the things we need to read is after next race, that's the last race before we're getting into top 10, but there will be a discard. Crusader will lose 10 points if he's performing. A player like 2099 will lose 11 points. Luis Ispan, the overall leader from the semifinals, will lose 17 points. Pasto, 15 points. So everything can happen after this race number 3. And who will be in top 10? We can't tell, because everything is open.
Absolutely. And the pressure now is really on. But let's have a look at sort of numbers from 10 with Joan Cardona and Bandido in 11th, Hector Dominguez 12th, 13th. Remember, they're trying to make it into the top 10 to qualify for the final 3 races.
And race number 3, Alec, is going to be a NACRA 17. It's going to be a fast foil boat, but it has a special ability, this boat. Again, it's one upwind, but this time it's not about being in the harder breeze. It's all about finding the middle breeze, because if you're getting into a hard breeze with this light foil boat, then you will actually lose momentum because it doesn't like too hard breezes. And when we're speaking about hard breezes, then in Spain right now, if we should be on water, then this final should be postponed because it's very, very hot weather there with windy weather and stormy clouds coming in.
Yeah, so in reality, the Bay of Palma, we are told, is a little bit stormy at the moment. But in the wonderful world of eSailing, we never have a postponement. Well, unless the internet goes down, of course. But fingers crossed, that's not going to happen today. And we are already into the final minute of our pre-start in this NACRA 17. So you've touched on this already. It's all about knowing your boat and getting it to foil and knowing how to get it to foil and when to make it foil and when not to foil. So it's all about working out the right range of breeze that is perfect for the NACRA 17. And it's not just about heading towards the dark patches on the water. It takes a certain strategy as well. So interesting, this race, our 3rd race and our final race. It'll be the final race for 10 of these sailors, those who don't make it into the final top 10. So it's 10 seconds to go. They're taking up their position, and it looks like most of them want to start on this right-hand side of the line. And it's 4, 3, 2, 1. Race number 3 of the Copa de España is away. There was an early penalty for Antonio DDR, our overall leader. Louis has a good start, but it's Joan Cardona out in front. And if ever there was a man who knows all about foiling boats, it's Joan Cardona, the SailGP sailor. And he got a great start, his best so far of this final.
Yeah, and 2 players that were in the top when we started this final, Ross and Lark and Antonio MDD, the overall leader. They're way behind already because these boats are so fast away. See, 14.5 upwind, but it is the SailGP sailor, Joan Cardona, in the lead, and he loves foiling boats, and he knows a lot about this boat and the EF50 also.
Early days, but this racing, just like the 49er race, is fast and furious, and it's over in the blink of an eye. No real time to recover from mistakes, so they've got to keep a cool head. Joan Cardona with the green sail leading the fleet on this first leg. Here comes Pasto on this left-hand side, looking a little bit stronger on this left side, the breeze.
But it's not a hard breeze. It's not very dark. It's middle dark. I know it's a little bit geeky to say that, but we have been playing the game and watched the game so much. So they're actually in good wind right now. If it was more darker, then I have kept myself in the middle. But see here the battle. Ramon in the lead. Joan Cardona a very top. Enric also coming in. They're getting ready to round the top mark for the first time.
But it's this man with the white sail, Ramon 732. That leads at the top gate. Joan Cardona second. Dominguez Hector now coming in, taking a wide turn into the mark to avoid a penalty. And there's a penalty there for Rausenlag.
Yeah. And I'm quite interested to see if Dominic Hector actually lost his internet connection at home, or it was because he wanted to avoid that penalty, but it costed him 4 positions to do a 360 there. And see, now he's under attack, and the wind shadow of this boat is only 22 meters big, so you won't see that many attacks with wind shadow here. It's all about being in the harder breeze, and the leading pack is already at the gate mark. Here we have Ramon, Joan Cardona.
And in third place, Enric Noguera, still waiting to get an Alvaro top. We haven't seen much of him in the final. He was a real challenger to Cruisolator's domination in the semis, but there hasn't been much of a battle from them. Talking of which, where is Cruisolator? Back in 18th right now.
Yeah, he's having a hard time, so that will be his discard, but that will still give him 10 points, Alec. Oh, that will maybe push him out of the final top 10, because in the lead right now, Jon Cardona and Ramon, and they haven't performed in the first 2 races, and all by himself, Enric Nagura. Interesting here.
Making their way up to this mark again. Well, we're almost, 3/4 of the way through the race already. And there's a cross at the front there between Jon Cardona and Ramon 732. And has that given Jon Cardona the lead? It looks like it has. He's got the priority there in that maneuver.
And fantastic.
Showing some good tactics, showing his mettle, and now is beginning to build on that slender lead as he comes up to the top mark. Oh, he gets there just ahead of Ramon 732. And we're now watching basically the battle for victory in the 3rd race. Following behind them, Pablo Portela worked his way up the fleet to move into 3rd. Alvaritop, Noguera has dropped down to 5th. Pasto and Hopkinsby and Samu all coming round the mark now.
And we just saw an interesting thing. Luis Espan lost a battle behind and dropped to 16. Nano Stinger and also here. But let's go to the leading pack. This is interesting. We can see Jon Cardona. He's so much in the lead. He will win this race, Alec. Ramon will get
watching
second.
This battle over in the distance, and Jon Cardona really accelerated away very well as soon as he launched his Spinnaker, and Jon Cardona gets victory in race 3 ahead of Ramon. And now, what about the battle for 3rd? It's close between the black sails of Alvaritop, Enrique Noguera also there with the blue sail, but it's Pablo Portela or Noguera for 4th. I'm not sure which way that has gone. We'll check in a moment, but let's see how the others come across the line now. Cruisolator in 12th.
Oh, the overall leader.
Overall leader in 14th. A poor result for him.
It's so changing everything. And there the rest of the boats coming in. Very interesting race number 3, Alec. And remember, to make it more interesting, a discard is coming in. And here is the confirmation. Jon Cardona with a victory. Ramon in 2nd, Alvaritop 3rd. Enric Nagura in 4th. Pablo G. Portela in 5th. Pasto in 6th. Hopkins in 7th. Matthias Bornet in 8th. Dominic Hector 9, Samu Tins, Cruisolator 11, Bandito 12, Felix Pinol in 13, Antonio MDDR, he is in 14, Ralsan Lark 15, Luis Espan 16, Alfonso Fernandez Perez 17, Nano Stinger 18, the Youngster 2099 in 19, and Mario PQ in 20th. And it's interesting to see where was the battle won and lost. And again, Jon Cardona winning it upwind. The first upwind, he won 1 position. The second upwind, he won over Ramon and took the lead. And Ramon couldn't come back in it again. We can see Dominic Hector with a penalty in the start. Hopkins, Luis, and Mario PQ dropping down for going to the wrong side. And we can see, DNF, Mario PQ lost connection after the start. So unlucky in a final like this. Antonio MDR starting with a false start, battling his way up all the way to 10th, and then he got a penalty, dropped down to 15th, and ending up 14th. Interesting what's going to happen in this race.
It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Who goes through? Who doesn't go through?
Yeah, and we haven't upgraded the scoreboard yet because Antonio MDR, he was in the lead, Cruiselator in second, but who will be top 10? Who will we see in the two next races in stage 2 and the middle race? And let's have the drums on. Here we go. There we go. We're going down here, going up. It's Antonio MDR. He lost that 14 points, luckily for him, in the lead, Alec.
And we talked about consistency. Ramon 732, who managed a third place and a second place out of those 3 races, is second overall. And what a result for Joan Cardona, who was struggling to make the top 10. His victory has put him third overall. But Mr. Cruiselator was second, drops all the way down to 7th.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And let's see, we will try to see if we can get an interview with Joan Cardona, because those two 12th positions coming in as an overall leader from the semi-final, winning the last race, and then have 2 12th position. Let's hear about his thoughts about this regatta. But the unlucky one was the youngster. That was Ispan 2099, having 20 points. Alfonso Fernandez-Braz, 20 points. But the reason why he lost is because Alfonso had a third as the best result, and 2099 had a 4th as best result. We just take a small break and see if we can get Joan Cardona in studio.
De ánimo o un aplauso puede dar una fuerza inimaginable. Por eso ahora todo nuestro apoyo va para ellos.
We're joined by Joan Cardona, who qualifies to the next phase of the final in 3rd place overall, but as winner of race number 3 in the NACRA. So, Joan, tell us, first of all, were you feeling the pressure? Because you were struggling, weren't you, to stay in the top 10 at first?
Yeah, I felt I was feeling confident. I think I was sailing quite good, but my stars didn't help at all. I started really, really bad in both first race 1 and 2. So I was just confident in the last one. I knew I have to do a good start, clear start, and be able to go where I want, and then I can make a good race.
Now, as a professional sailor, you're used to sailing on all sorts of foiling boats. Do you think that helps with the NACRA 17?
Yeah, I think so. I think also the NACRA is quite technical in the game. You need to really, for the mark roundings and everything, you really need to control very good the boat. And I think I'm good with that. And yeah, it helped for sure.
So 3 races to come, no discards, and a double points final race. What's your tactic? What's the secret to become Spanish champion?
I really don't know. We are all super tight in the points, so just try to make good races in the front, be consistent, because now we all have the discard. We just need to be consistent in the following races and try to do a good medal race also, because for sure medal race will decide everything.
And finally, how do you say?
Un aplauso puede dar una fuerza inimaginable. Por eso ahora todo nuestro apoyo va para ellos.
And Alec, we just spoke with Jon Cardona. And Alec, you were going to ask him before we were cutting off, how do you say champion of Spain? How do we say champion of Spain?
I just wanted to hear the words campeones de España from his lips, you see. I wanted to see if they fitted as he goes into the final 3 races of this national championship.
Yeah, and let's see the format of the top 10 coming in here. They have 3 races, and this is race number 1 in the final. And race number 1, a 49er again, Alec. They're starting with the fast boats this time.
Yeah, so just as we did in the first phase, we raced the 49er, the NACRA and the J70. Only this time we start, as you said, Thomas, with the faster boats, the 49er, then we'll have the NACRA 17, and we'll finish off with the J70. So let's get race number 1 underway.
Yeah, and it's very, very exciting how they will perform this time. We saw in the last 49er how two of the skippers was losing a downwind after been winning a lot of upwind. But the next race is coming up, but let's get ready for it after this break.
De ánimo o un aplauso puede dar una fuerza inimaginable. Por eso ahora todo nuestro apoyo va para ellos.
And Alec, final race number 1 coming up. The players are coming in. We're waiting for all of them to come in. Right now, they're just sitting around here and making some excitement. But there's wrong thing wrong. This is not a 49er. It's the J17. So it looks like the race officers
have changed their minds.
Has changed their minds. That's quite interesting, because that can change the whole mindset of this tactics they're doing. Let's see if they are going out of it. They can't change it back. So it's going to be the J17. That means that the final will be either a NACRA 17 or 49er. Interesting what's coming up there. That will also surprise us here in studio.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of ending on a J70 is that it's the more strategic of the 3 boats. And that's what they really wanted to test at the end, just to make it into quite a climax. But hey, it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, if they want to start with the J70, we can start with a J70. But you're right, the sailors might just have to slightly change their mindset. And I wonder if that's why we're taking some time to get into this fleet, or for the sailors to join the race. They have now all joined. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 sailors.
10 sailors and 2 visitors. But this is Pasto, this is Jon Cardona, this is Pablo G. Portela, Cruiselator, Antonio MDDR, Samu, Ramon, Matthias Bonnet, Alfonso Fernandez Perez, Dominic Hectors, and those 2 we don't care about. But I just have an info from the race officers. This race is going to be a J17. They can't cancel it and will not change it. The next one will be a 49er, and the middle race will be a J17. So the NACRA is out.
Okay.
Maybe too much wind in Spain, killing the NACRA.
They're the race officers. They can do as they please. We've got 20 seconds to go. In a little while, I'm going to ask you to explain. A penalty for Jon Cardona early on in this pre-start. I'm going to ask you to explain how we somehow get visitors on a race course. But right now, let's focus on the start of this J70 race. Race 1 of the final, as we try to choose the champion of Spain. It's 0, it's go, and it's a penalty for Antonio DDR, but everyone else has got away okay, with Dominguez Hector just edging in front on this left-hand side.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting because that penalty didn't mean that much, because it's a J boat. It's a very strategic and tactic boat. Upwind, you can do a lot of. You can't lose that much. A penalty will only inflict 5 to 8 meters losing, but downwind is where this boat is won and lost. So who will win race number 1? And they're going to race it 2 times. We just had a medal race with it also, counting double. So this race means everything for these sailors, because this shows who is the strongest.
Well, we spoke to the winner of race number 3, didn't we, Joan Cardona, and he'd been struggling in the J70 in this competition, and he said, yeah, being a professional foiling sailor certainly helps. So losing the NACRA is a bit of a blow to his campaign. But we'll see how they get along. At the moment, Cardona is in the middle of the fleet, with Dominguez Hector still out in front.
Dominguez Hector, Cruiselator, Pasto, Alfonso Fernandez Perez. It's Ramon in third. Ramon is in a good position. Matthias Bonnet in last. He is having a hard time with the pirate flag. Pasto going in front of Ramon. Ramon bears away and goes behind him. Great job there. But see the battle up in the lead. There's only 20 meters in between top 5. This means we're going to have a bloody battle downwind.
Right, they're closing in on this top mark to complete the first of 4 legs. Dominguez Hector looking nicely placed. And will the others be able to sneak in on the inside? Can Cruiselator do it? I don't think he can. So Dominguez is out in front. Cruiselator takes second place. There's a penalty for Ramon 732. There's a penalty for Samu. They just pushed it too much, trying to sneak in on that inside track. But look at these two, Portela and Antonio DDR. Some of the favourites are struggling at the back of the fleet, penalising each other.
But it's quite, and it's also only a medium downwind we have here. So it's double hardcore for them. So you can't see the great battle downwind, only in the second leg downwind. That's where it is. But see all the battles. Penalty, Matthias Bonnet against Samu. But Pasto, Alfonso, Cruiselator, Dominic Hector. And see Joan Cardona, he sneaks up to the top lead, up battling for the best positions. Getting ready for the second upwind.
So a very short downwind leg. But Dominguez Hector managing to stay in front. Can Cruiselator stay in touch going upwind? A penalty for Samu, his second of the game. And now we're already at the halfway stage.
And it's interesting, if Hector can get more than 20 meters lead to Cruiselator, can he that, then he can actually sneak away in the long downwind. But I'm not sure he will be able to it. And it looks like also Alfonso is getting close to Cruiselator, Pesto getting close to Alfonso. So everything is open. That's good news for Joan Cardona, because then he can sneak away and don't go into a battle and maybe take over some positions. All points count, and it will be added to the points they had from the first 3 races.
Dominguez Hector has grown his lead. Cruiselator getting 6 knots there, trying to stay in touch. But remember, there are 3 races to come. The third race is double points, no discards available. So it's about consistency, and they really, none of these guys want to finish at the back. Matthias Bonnet picking up a penalty. But meanwhile, the leaders are speeding off downwind towards the finish line. Dominguez Hector now hitting 17 knots and heading towards the finish line as victor of this first race of the grand final of the Copa de España. Cruiselator second. Pasto and Alfonso Perez are going to battle it out for third and fourth. Joan Cardona has moved up into 5th.
And it's interesting, Joan Cardona can take that 4th position away from Pesto. See, he's getting closer and closer with that wind shadow. 30 meters big, trying to throw some dirty air into it. He needs to do an extra jibe, but it's too late. The finish line is coming closer. Alfonso Fernandez Perez 3rd, Pesto 4th, Joan Cardona 5th. And then let's see the secondary positions. Antonio battling his way back to 6th. Matthias Bonnet might be the loser. Samu, Ramon, and Pablo G. Portela last, Alec. I haven't seen that. Confirmation. Dominic Hector in the lead with a victory. Cruiselator in 2nd. Alfonso Fernandez Perez in 3rd. Pasto 4th. Joan Cardona 5th. Antonio MDDR 6th. Ramon 7th. Samu 8th. Matthias Bonnet 9th. Pablo G. Portela 10th. And if this is how it's going to be in the middle race, wow. then I can't call who's winning today, because that will change the whole scoreboard when we're coming in there. Some stats: Jan Cardona with the best start, but he's having a hard time in the upwind here. We cannot win and lose a lot of things in the upwind with the J-boat, but still he needs to find a way to solve this issue to be able to win it after a good start. Alfonso Fernandez Perez sailed the shortest distance, but the maximum speed was for Hector. Penalties: Pablo G. Patella got 4th, and that's dropping him down. And we can see Dominic Hector actually won that upwind race. Jan Cardona, he got a penalty, that's why he dropped down. But great job by him battling his way back to 5th. And Alec, we are going into this scoreboard here. It's still the overall leader, Antonio MDDR, but 6 points to the account, only in the lead with 1 point in front of Hector Dominguez.
Yeah, Jan Cardona holds on to 3rd place, Cruiselator 4th, Ramon 732, not a great race from him. He drops down to 5th place. For Cruiselator, that was his first top 3 finish in 7 races in the in these semi-finals. Remember, he won 2 races in the early stages of the semis, so maybe he's coming back into form when it matters most, but he's still sitting in 4th place.
Yeah, and it's interesting, see, from number 1 to number 6, 3 points in between those boats. This is going to be a hell of a medal race we're going to see in the last race. But let's see, it's the 49er we are coming up to, Alec. So let's get ready for it. We just need to see what's coming in. And let's just take the 49er graphic. Here it is.
Okay, so the 49er, it's the boat we were expecting the first race to be in, and we were discussing how it's advantageous to get your upwind legs really well sailed in the 49er. If you get it right on the upwinds, you can gain 20 to 30 meters on an opponent who hasn't quite got their boat set up right, who hasn't quite spotted the wind shifts in the right way. So the 49er, the E49er, it's all about winning it upwind.
Yeah, and let's get ready in the game. Final race number 2, Copa de España. Who will be the first e-sailing champion of Spain? Who will it be? It's very open what we're seeing here right now. It's it can be everybody. Top 6 are only 3 points in between them. And then to number 7, we have 6 points up to the overall leader. But remember, this is the last race. There will be no discard. And then after, we have a middle race counting double points, Alec. So I can't call who's winning. It can't be more exciting.
No, it can't. We're waiting for the final sailors to join the race, to join the server, and then the race officials will hit the clock and the pre-start will begin. So a little bit of practice time for the guys that are already in. And I think 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We have everyone now, so we're just waiting for the race officials to start this penultimate race of the Copa de España. And Antonio DDR, he is the man to catch. He is top of the leaderboard overall, but only by a point. Hector Dominguez is in 2nd place on 17 points. And then 2 points further back on 19 is Joan Cardona with equal on points with Cruiselator, who is 4th.
Yeah, and it's interesting here. The start comes 1 minute and 8 seconds left. We are going to see who will have the best possible result into the middle race. And with that score where 4 players have 19 points, the leader has 16 points, second place 17 points. This race means everything because the middle race count double, and there a winner gets 2 points and a loser gets 20 points. Here we go.
Yep, 40 seconds to go, and let's have a look at that radar. I haven't set that yet, but the wind looks like it's coming straight down the course, and it looks as if the majority of the boats are wanting to stay on this right-hand side.
Yeah, right now it's a mixed wind up there. Looks like we're going to have a wind shift from the left-hand side, coming from the left-hand side. So going to the right-hand side might be a good chance from the start. And they're waiting to show their skills in the last second. Here we go. Most of again left-hand side. Johan Cardona sneaks away to the right-hand side. He saw that wind shift. Ramon also. That is crucial.
Cardona was just sitting behind the committee boat, almost looked like he wasn't doing anything. And then, bam! As soon as he could, he released the power in the sails, and off he went up to that right-hand side. So he spotted that wind shift as well. But Cruiselator, wow! He has chosen to go on his own up this left-hand side where, I have to admit, it's also looking dark and gusty.
Yeah. Interesting. This is going to be a very close call. See how long away Crucial is from the other boats. If he made a good call here, remember, it's upwind you're winning this race. If he made a good call, then he will be way ahead of the others. But I'm not sure of that because the other boats are coming from starport. And interesting to see who will get the best position here. Let's see, Johan Cardona, he's now in the lead according to server. But they are almost side by side, racing towards that top mark.
So really, it's the 2 boats at the extremes of this dotted white triangle that we need to keep an eye on as they converge into the top mark. They, in theory, should be the faster boats, but already the ones like Dominguez Hector has already tacked in and is heading towards that. Well, they've travelled probably less distance, haven't they? So
yeah.
Ramon 732 now coming in. And let's just get behind. Here we go. Let's see them come in. Let's
Johan
see
with speed.
Johan Cardona comes in at speed, but he's second. Ramon 732 slots in. Here comes Dominguez Hector and Matthias Bonnet. And where was Cruiselator after all that? In 5th place.
And Antonio MDR, the overall leader, in 8th. Oh, I love this race. I love this Copa de España. This is going to be the most exciting final we have seen for a long time before going into the middle race. Johan Cardona all by falling here this side in second, 18 knots, opposite side. Slower boat Ramon, 0.5 knots slower. Interesting call.
Nothing in it between the 2 leading boats as they head towards that bottom gate for the very first time, the halfway point. Who will be leading the race at that point? At the moment, it's Ramon, who just jibes ahead of Johan Cardona, and he decides to split and take a different mark. Oof. And now they're both working their way up those ley lines towards the top mark again.
Penalty to Cruiselator. Drops down to 7 now. Wow, it is a final worthy of champions. This is race number 2 before the middle race. And see those 2 battling guys in the lead. They're going to have a mano-mano downwind. Ramon, Johan Cardona, opposite side. Pesto tries to sneak away, doing a great upwind in 3rd at the moment. And when we're analysing a little bit, Matthias Bonnet coming back after 2 penalties, Arcune in 5th. That's a good result for him. He could lose everything. Now he's in 4th. So also a good upwind race by him. But it's Ramon taking the lead. Will Johan Cardona come close enough to attack him? Or will Johan get second?
Well, right now it's Johan Cardona trying to catch Ramon, a 420 sailor, against a SailGP sailor. And Ramon has the advantage on this upwind leg.
He's placing himself good here, coming into the mark on the inside. See, Jon needs to do attack coming in here, and there's enough room. It looks like Ramon sneaks away and takes the victory, but a lot of things can happen downwind. Dominic Hector, 3rd. Matthias Bonnet, 4th. Crucilator battling his way up to 5th. Pasto drops to 7th. Samu, 6th. Alfonso now 7. Small battle. The overall leader is last. Oh, yo. And Pablo G. Patella also. Mamma mia, Alec. What's going on here?
Well, I'll tell you what's going on. The meters and the racetrack is running out for Joan Cardona to catch Ramon. Ramon looks like he's clear now, over 60 meters ahead of Cardona. But what about this battle for 3rd that's right in front of us between Dominguez Hector and Matthias Bonnet? They are fighting it out, that wind shadow round about 23 meters in the 49er. As Ramon crosses the finish line and wins the penultimate race of the Copa de España just ahead of Joan Cardona. Who is going to take 3rd? It's going to be Dominguez. No, it's not. It's going to be Matthias Bonnet, who somehow sneaks in ahead.
Oh, what a finish. Calculated penalty for sailing into the other boat and sailing through him and then still winning that position. What a finish. Ramon with a victory. Joan Cardona in 2nd. Matthias Bonnet winning 0.2 seconds in front of Hector. Crucilator managed to get 5th. Samu 6. Alfonso Fernandez Perez 7. Pasto 8. Pablo G. Patella 9. Antonio MDDR in 10th. And a lot of fans are cheering on this Matthias from doing that finish. Great job by him. Watching the stats, best start for Hector, fastest speed Cardona, and Crucilator. Still the shortest distance was Ramon. Antonio MDDR with 2 penalties, so costly for the overall leader. And Ramon winning the upwind race, the same thing Joan Cardona did. And remember that start he did. It looks like he had a slow start, and then he sneaks away around the committee boat, going to the right-hand side, comes up to 2nd position. Great tactical stuff by him there. Great stuff. Let's get ready for the medal race in a few seconds. But before that, let's see the scoreboard. Oh, Alec Wilkinson, my heart pumps. How do you feel in London?
Well, it's wide open. I'm just looking at the scores here, and there's 13 points between 1st and 10th. It's a double points medal race, 20 points up for grabs. Potentially anyone could be champion of Spain out of the top 10. But really, wow. What a battle it's going to be between Ramon 732, Joan Cardona in 2nd, still only separated by a point. Hector Dominguez also on 21 points. Crucilator on 24. I mean, it's impossible to call. Yeah. They are really going to have to stay calm up here in their heads.
Yeah, I need to ask all of you viewers out there, please please write with an ad. Who will win? Who will be the Spanish champion? The first ever Spanish eSailing champion, the champion of 2020. Medal race coming up, counts double. And Alec, it's going to be in this boat.
Yeah, we're back in the J70, and well, let's talk this through for those of you who are joining us for the first time for this very final race, the medal race, the double points medal race to decide who will be champion of Spain. And the J70, a very strategic boat, which is why they've chosen it as the final boat, the final class for the national championships. And it's all about getting it right downwind in the EJ70. You can win it downwind, and you can gain an incredible amount of time and distance on your opponents if you get it right. The course, as we've seen through the whole of this final, upwind, downwind, upwind, downwind, 4 legs. Good luck, everyone.
And here we have it, Alec. The medal race coming up. Counts double. Let's have a presentation of the sailors. This is Pasto in the white sail. Jon Cardona, he switched back to the green sails with the funny hats. Hector here in the blue with the feather. Samu with the unicorn. Ramon, all white, cheering for the white. Matthias Bonnet has the pirate flag raised. Crucilator blue with 1-0. He wants to be number 1 of Spain. Antonio MDR, he has been in the lead most of the time, but it looks like he's falling on the finish course here. Alfonso Fernandez Perez, the red dotted, and Pablo G. Portela, the eagle. Wow.
Pablo Portela just joining in on the server, so and the clock started immediately, so he'll got less time to just calm himself, collect himself, and work out how he's going to race this. Pablo Portela currently sitting in 10th. Somehow, if he wants a medal, he's got to make up. Well, if he wants to be champion, he's got to make up 13 points. But let's have a look now. 45 seconds to go, and they're bunched up. Trying to sort of jostle for position. Remember, the penalty only really affects you in the final sort of 14 seconds or so of the pre-start. So they can pretty much do what they want and shove and push and shove into the last few seconds. But right now, looking at the radar, the wind slightly shifted from the left-hand side of the course. But we've got 4 boats on the right and 4 boats on the left with 1 in the middle. 10 seconds to go. It's the medal race of the Copa de España. All 10 boats can mathematically become champions of Spain. Who's it going to be? It's an early penalty for Dominguez Hector, so a disastrous start for the man in 3rd place overall. Crucilator gets away well, Samu gets away well, and Joa Cardona's in the mix as well.
This can't be more exciting, Alec, what's going to happen in. But, a penalty again to Pasto also. This is all open. This is how we want to have it. This is what we love. This is a final worthy. A champion will be crowned, the first of it all in Spain in a few seconds. And Jon Cardona, he's having a hard time in this J-boat. In 7th position at the moment, Alec.
Yep. 6 knots on this upwind leg. They're all pretty much matched for speed, and these guys are so experienced. Oh, then we got a cross there between those 2 blue boats. Crucilator just ducking down, but these guys so experienced and with the setup of their boats that there's going to be little difference in speed. It's all about their strategy and their tactics and where they think the strongest breeze will be. But
right now it looks great for Ramon. He's in 2nd, giving 4 points, and he's ahead of the other boats. Jon Cardona, Hector Dominguez, we have Crucilet, Antonio MDDR. They're all behind of Ramon, and if he keeps that position, he will be crowned champion. Oh, almost penalty to Ramon there. Managed to slip behind. Great action. It couldn't be closer.
Just missed out on picking up that penalty. Nice maneuver from him. But look at them all coming in together, those three boats especially, all coming to the top mark at the same time. Someone's going to have to give way, because I don't think there's room for all three of them to round the mark at the same time. On the inside with a black sail, going round first.
Penalty, the leader! Going upwind! He's losing everything there!
Cruzolator, Dominguez, Hector picking up penalties. And Cruzolator pushing Dominguez against the mark, I think, there, and giving him a penalty. But look, the Spinnakers are out on that far side. Antonio DDR is away and heading downwind, chased by Samu, and Cruzolator in third. Ramon coming round now in fifth.
Yeah, and interesting mark rounding we saw there. We saw all three boats entering the zone at the same time from the same angle, so nobody could do a starboard. And Ramon tried to do it, but he missed it, and that's why he got that penalty by Samu. But right now, it's Antonio and Samu in the lead, and both of them are way behind, so they're just mixing up the battle behind them. Right now, it looks like Cruzolator might be the next champion of Spain. There we go. Dominguez Hector. Ramon coming in. Ramon, he needs to go up in third. Oh, penalty! Unforced penalty hitting the mark, Alec. Insane final.
Pablo Portela, he had little chance of making the podium, but now I think he's gone around that mark about 3 times and stopped. He's just stopped with his sails into the wind. A disaster for Pablo Portela, who did so well in the semi-finals, but not here in the final. Let's focus now on the leaders. Antonio DDR is out in front.
Yeah, and fast math, Alec. If Antonio keeps this position and Cruzolator gets third, who do you think the champion is? The mathematic guys here. That is going to be Antonio, and we are going to have a match race downwind with Antonio and Samu. Whoa, everything is open here. Will Antonio be the first champion?
Antonio DDR leads onto the very final leg of the very first Copa de España, with Samu in second and Cruzolator, who is challenging for the gold medal, in third place. Downwind they go. It's just a matter of seconds now before we find out who Spain's champion will be.
And the wind is just gone. They're slowing down, all of them. There's no wind in this downwind race. Samu found the wind, 9.6. Antonio, 9.4. Cruzolator, 9.4. That is very concerning from Cruzolator, because he is in lower wind than the other. Dominik Hector coming from behind with speed. And if he comes closer to Antonio MDR and gets third, then he's the overall winner. This is interesting battle. Let's watch these 4 boats. One of the 4 boats will be the champion, and it's not going to be Samu.
Antonio DDR just 2 points, starts just 2 points behind Cruzolator. So as things stand, with Cruzolator moving right up behind him, it's Cruzolator that is going to take the title, I think. But it's all got to be confirmed. Let's watch this as Cruzolator takes the lead on this downwind leg. But it's Samu in... and Antonio DDR just sneaks in on this right-hand side ahead of Samu, with Cruzolator in third, Dominguez Hector in fourth, and Joan Cardona is going to be fifth ahead of Alfonso Fernandez. What a finish.
What a finish. And Alec, I can do some math, but I can say this is mathematic we're going to do. The winner will win with 1 point, and second place will get second place with 1 point. Third place will just lose it on the finish line. Antonio MDDR with a victory. Samu in second, Cruzolator third, Dominik Hector fourth, Joan Cardona fifth, Alfonso Fernandez Perez sixth, Ramon 7, Pasto 8, Pablo G. Portela 9, and Matthias Bornet lost connection in the final. So unlucky. And boys and girls and skippers around the world, Alec, let's jump into the result.
Well, yeah, it's not being updated. That's how we went into.
Yeah, we are not updating it. See how close it is.
The ones to look out for: Hector Dominguez, Cruzolator, and Antonio DDR. Antonio won that medal race. Cruzolator was third. So I think you're probably doing the maths yourselves.
Yeah, and before we are pressing update, small commercial break. Thank you to the sponsors for supporting it. It's going to be very close, Alec. And Alec Wilkinson, what a crazy mathematic we just had here. And luckily we have a program like SailRanks to help us out. Who won it? Who is the Spanish champion? Let's don't keep the pressure here. Let's put the result on the board.
The very first champion of Spain, the Campeones de España, is Antonio MDDR by 1 point. Silver medalist Hector Dominguez, and Cruiselator takes the bronze. So congratulations to our very first champion of Spain, Antonio MDDR. He's a coach with the Spanish Sailing Federation, hugely experienced, and now he's shown it to the eSailors as well.
And Hector Dominguez, second place overall, winning that one on the finish line, just battling his way in, so he didn't lose more points to Cruiselator, and he gets second with 29 points. And Cruiselator third, but see how close it was. Fourth position, Johan Cardona, 31 points, 1 point behind Cruiselator. And Alec, this is insane. What a fantastic finish.
Well, I'm out of breath after all that. I mean, we've had, I've lost count of the number of races, but so many hundreds of sailors competing over so many days, and really all funneled down to the very last race. I mean, it's extraordinary, really, and also a show of the quality of eSailing in Spain right now.
Yeah, we will try to get the winner in studio after this commercial break. Let's have a fantastic interview with the winner and see how he feels and how he had it today. Great stuff, this one. We'll be back in a few seconds with the winner.
Puede dar una fuerza inimaginable. Por eso ahora, todo nuestro apoyo va para ellos.
Hello. Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Hello, Antonio. You're in our mix zone. You're live. Congratulations, Campeones de España.
Thank you very much.
So, well, just tell us about that final race. You won the race, and that meant you won the championship.
Yeah, I did really bad the second race in 49er. I knew I had to risk more in the last one, and well, I think I got luck, and I did it.
But a real battle between you and Cruiselator as well, wasn't it? He was behind you the whole time. Were you worried?
Yes, sure. I was worried. He's one of the better players in the world, so yes, I was worried. But I had the fight with Sam also, and I knew I cannot lose my place. So I was sure I was worried.
Yeah.
It was a fight till the end. The last jibe was like I don't know if I have to jibe or not.
When it was very close on that line, you just got across in the lead. Now tell me, you're part of the sort of the team that works, the coaching team that works for the federation. Is that correct?
Yes. I coach I work with Carlos in the youth team, in the Spanish youth team, and
So,
I works.
When you do your next coaching session, when this whole coronavirus problem is finished and the kids come to you, if they ever question what you're telling them, you say, "Hey kids, I'm the national champion. You listen to me, yeah?"
Nah, they will listen to me anyway, so that there is no problem in that matter. They always listen to me.
Yeah, I'm sure. How are you going to celebrate?
Well, we can do a lot of things now, so there is nothing. I think tomorrow we can celebrate. So tomorrow we enter in the second phase of the coronavirus, and we can go to some bars and have beers and everything. So I think tomorrow I will celebrate.
Well, I mean, what better way to celebrate an easing of the lockdown and national champion of Spain? Congratulations, Antonio.
Thank you very much.
I just have one thing to all the Spanish fans out there, Antonio. Will you please tell them how it feels to be the Spanish champion, the first champion ever in Spanish?
Yeah, it's the first time. Yeah, I feel so proud. And
it's okay to say it in Spanish to all the fans out there.
Ok. Bueno, pues nada, muy orgulloso de haber podido ganar. La verdad que, bueno, la organización de la Copa ha durado casi 2 semanas o 2 semanas enteras, ha sido una pasada. Y nada, muy divertido hasta el final, ya habéis visto, con tensión hasta el final, estoy todavía medio temblando y nada, que enhorabuena a todos los que habéis participado, que ha sido un placer navegar con vosotros, ha habido un nivelazo, sobre todo en esta fase final ha habido un nivelazo brutal y nada, que a seguir navegando como se pueda, aunque dentro de poco podremos volver a navegar de verdad. Que siga el juego y que bueno, que todo lo que sea promocionar la vela y navegar de una manera o de otra será pues siempre positivo.
Fantastic. Congratulations, and we will see you later. Thank you. Congratulations, be the first champion ever in Virtual Regatta Inshore, the Spanish champion.
Thank you very much.
and Alec Wilkinson. Congratulations to the first champion ever in Spain.
Yeah, great to see him as well, because you know, we've been following his little boat on the water, but it's great to actually put a face to the sailor in the boat. So congratulations to Antonio, the very first champion of Spain, and what a great way and a great time to win it, given that the Spanish lockdown will be eased tomorrow and that they'll be able to go out and have a drink in a bar and celebrate. So that's fantastic news.
Yeah. And Alec, I only have one thing to say. Fantastic work by the organizers. 270 races in 4 days. Amazing job they made.
Amazing job, and extraordinary that we got to the medal race without knowing who was going to win, with all 10 sailors potentially, mathematically, in a position to win the race. So many sailors, so many races, and it came down. And it didn't even come down to the last race. It came down to the last leg. It came down to the last few meters. And that last maneuver of Antonio, as he just managed to get across the line, if he hadn't, he wouldn't have won.
Yeah. And let's just see the scoreboard before finishing up today, Alec. This is how it ended up in the Spanish Championship. The first Copa de España, the victor of them all. Antonio MDDR with a victory. Hector Dominguez in second. Crucilator in third. Congratulations to the overall 3 winners. And with that picture here, Alec, thank you for being online with us today. Thank you to be in studio. What a great pleasure. What a final we had.